goodbye to my old life. I'm happy for my new life. Still I'm focused on my new life. On the I-95, I'm cruising my new life. I know about my new life. I'm gonna teach you about my new life.
Welcome, Mrs. Codjoe, to The Real You.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure to be here.
We are discussing the dynamics of the new era, and we got into talking about the early church and oneness, and we really want to hear your perspective on oneness.
Well, we are looking at the early church. The early church, they wholeheartedly took up this principle of oneness. And in Acts chapter 2, we saw where no one lacked. Because those who had, they sold of their properties and their lands.
Wow.
And they brought what they sold to the disciples.
Yes.
And the disciples shared them among those who were in need.
Oneness.
Oneness.
But today, somehow we seem to have lost that oneness.
Such a cool world,
But all is not lost, because there are churches like mine where we are involved right now in digging the wells, as we call it, and we are bringing back those principles right in the forefront of the saints. You know, at the beginning of the year, Dr. Woodruff, in one of his teachings, he taught on when God does a new thing. He said a few things that really captured the heart of oneness. You know, he was talking about everyone carrying load.
Yes.
And he spoke about even the children carrying load.
I'm sure that impacted you.
Oh my goodness, when I heard that, I said, yes, Claudina, you are on the right track. Because you do encourage the children, because he said, if even they can say a 30-second prayer, I mean, I was impacted with that. Because I always allow them to say a little prayer here and there as we go along.
I think we have that clip. Let's hear what it says.
And I don't want any single human being in this church walking around saying, I'm insignificant. God don't know me. He knows you. And every one of you is absolutely significant and productive in what God wants for you to do. Amen? You can sit in your house and take 10 minutes and put your mouth inside of what God is doing. Yes? Turn the TV off. Take 10 minutes. You're driving home from work. Participate. Everybody can do it. Every man, every woman, every young person, and even the children down in Project Heritage can lift load for God. Everyone is important.
I'm so glad to be reminded of that. As in this world, we can get carried away so much and lose the very essence of the speaking of God.
You know, there is something that we talk about in the Congress, which speaks about community engagement. So as we're talking about oneness, does, you know, what's the connection between oneness and community engagement? You could kind of shed some light on that?
Okay. In order for us to access our inheritance, there must be a corporate effort. That calls for sacrifice.
Wow.
Sometimes it means denying ourselves of our own comfort.
Sleep, ladies.
You know, in order to achieve that oneness in Christ. And as I said before, the way the early church did it, that they sold possessions, they brought to the disciples distributed among them, that is a classical example of oneness. And as we say in the Congress, otherness.
I really like that word, otherness.
As we engage in the new era, we must be committed to relationship.
Yes.
Because that is the key. And as we bond, this, like, it opens up a circuit for God that He can pour into us and into our lives, that it will impact upon those who are around us. You know? And God demands a transport mechanism.
I like that. I like that.
Yes, by which He could take us out of aloneness and bring us into a rich relational component.
You know what you just said, I really realized that aloneness really negates the will of God. So there's no room for aloneness.
We need each other.
We just need each other.
We just can't do without each other.
Yes, it does give us the distinct impression that we cannot cross over alone. As with the early church, they prayed together, they tarried together, and it was undergirded with fellowship and prevailing prayer. And as we read in Acts 2:42, they continued steadfast in the apostles' doctrine, the breaking of bread, and in prayer. And that is a beautiful thing.
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
that
really
is
is.
truly a
Yes,
beautiful thing.
that's right.
Yes. I'm thinking now that oneness involves death to self. Does this make any sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Because in this new era, we are encouraged to walk in obedience and death to self.
Right.
Because if we walk in pride, it negates the energy.
Yes,
Okay.
it does.
If we
It
walk
does.
in ambition, it negates the energy. If we walk in personal aggrandizement or pride as we know it, we negate the energy. So we have to walk in personal death.
I understand.
And the energy amplifies us like an amplifier. And what comes out at the other end, it is not logical, it is not sequential, and it cannot be figured out. Who can figure out oneness with such a multitude of different people?
Yeah,
Only God can.
Only God.
Only God can.
that's so true. Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Codjoe, for joining us, for giving us a clearer understanding of what oneness really means.
Yes, I think I have a really good understanding
I
now.
understand as well.
It's a pleasure.
Yes.
It has been indeed a pleasure.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Up next, we have joining us, talking to us about Congress WBN, is Mrs. Patricia Karen Bukas. We'll be right back.